Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I think it's about time to start. I do hope that all those that wanted to be here after last night's cocktail have reached the room. So let me introduce one of the organizers and hosts, Mayor Dutkiewicz, the Mayor of Wrocław.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the city of Wrocław. My speech will be split in three parts. There will be welcoming and appreciating party. There will be a really short statement, and there will be pretty short remark. Starting with the welcoming party, I wanted to say I am really honored to have here the President of the Republic of Estonia, His Excellency Thomas Hendrik Ilves. Welcome, Excellency. There's a Polish Deputy Prime Minister, Mrs. Elżbieta Bieńkowska. Welcome. There are many people from the Ukraine, and there's a person who, as the very first person leading the government, recognized the independence of the Ukraine, the Prime Minister Krzysztof Bielecki. Welcome. There's our Ministry of Defense, Tomasz Siemoniak. Welcome, Tom. And there are many others important people really warmly welcome to the city of Wrocław. I appreciate your presence. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been organizing Wrocław Global Forum for 5 years, and behind important people from the first row, there are people, they made it happen. And I wanted to mention few names, and then after mentioning those 6 names, I will be asking you for applause. There is Magda Piasecka, there is Fran Burwell, there is Barbara Radomska, there is Magda Jakubowska, there is Andrzej Bobiński, and there is Anna Zielińska. They made it happen. And now the second part, the statement. Ladies and gentlemen, it happened 25 years ago. Poland began to be free and independent country. Applause. And just 2 short remarks. We'll be talking about many subjects, many issues. There's the issue of independence of the Ukraine and the tension generated by Putin. As you maybe know, I am a mathematician. And the very first remark is from the theory of languages. You can take one simple remark. If there are 2 parties talking, trying to communicate, they have to use the same language. If they are using different languages, one of those parties should change the language. I don't believe Putin would be able to change his language. And the second remark is describing why. It's a very old anecdote. It happened after the First World War. There was a commission tracing physically in a field the limitation between Poland and the Soviet Union, previous Russia. And the commission discovered the limitation, the border, will be cutting a certain farmer house. Therefore, they decided we have to move the border, but in which direction? We have to ask the farmer. And they asked the farmer, Mr. Farmer, after the limitation is done, what would you prefer, to be on the Polish side or on the Russian side. And he reacted immediately, saying, I would prefer to be on the Polish side. Okay, then we would move the border 50 meters to the east, but tell us, please, why did you decide for the Polish side? And his reaction was pretty important, because it was, one says winter is much, much colder on the Russian side. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 5th Wrocław Global Forum. Thank you very much.
Welcome to the stage the director of the Polish Institute for International Affairs, Marcin Zaborowski. Szanowni Państwo, powitajmy na scenę dyrektora Polskiego Instytutu Spraw Międzynarodowych, pana Marcina Zaborowskiego.
Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is a real honor and a pleasure to open the 5th Wrocław Global Forum alongside Mayor Dutkiewicz as well as Frederick Kempe, the President of the Atlantic Council. As I said, this is for the 5th time that we're doing it, and it's been quite an adventure, I have to say, mostly really in a very positive sense. The Polish Institute is involved in that effort for the 4th time running. I think that over these 5 years that have passed, the forum has emerged as a prime forum for a debate in Central and Eastern Europe to deal with transatlantic relations. And I think that this is really the place where when people who deal with foreign affairs, transatlantic relations in economy or other aspects, when they take their schedules at the beginning of the year, they usually mark Wrocław Global Forum as a place where one is supposed to show up at sometime around June this year. And I'm really thankful to the Atlantic Council and the city of Wrocław that this is actually happening, because if it wasn't happening here in Wrocław, then perhaps the institute like mine would need to organize something similar in Warsaw, and we wouldn't be able to galvanize that kind of the element of support and the organizational effort that might be needed for that. So it's always best to do it in collaboration and with friends. Now, this year forum is happening in a very special context. Mayor has already alluded to that. Poland celebrates 25 years since the watershed elections, which opened the gates to freedom, and which meant the end of communism. 2 days ago, the leaders of the free world gathered in Warsaw to celebrate that anniversary, but also to discuss measures to protect our freedoms. And as we speak, the borders of our neighbor, Ukraine, are constantly under threat. And with the separatist bands attacking cities in eastern and southern Ukraine, and with Russia occupying the Ukrainian territory of Crimea. And people might say, well, this is far away, it's not here, we have time to react, we should try to go back to business as usual with Russia as soon as we can. And for those, I just would like to say that yesterday it was Crimea, today is Donbas, tomorrow it could be Narva, for example. We're not quite sure where this is going to stop. So this is why Russia must receive a very clear signal that this kind of aggression wouldn't stand, that it has its price and that it won't be permitted. Ukraine is very special to us here in Poland. The mayor has already mentioned the fact that Poland was the first country to recognize the independent Ukraine. And I would like also to thank our former Prime Minister, Jan Krzysztof Bielecki, who was the author of that decision at the time. We supported Ukraine during the Orange Revolution, with our former President Aleksander Kwaśniewski taking the leading role in negotiating agreement which led to the repeat of the elections. And of course we supported Ukraine also this time around with the Minister of Foreign Affairs brokering the agreement that led to the end of the Yanukovych's regime. Now, ladies and gentlemen, our leaders wouldn't probably have much reason to celebrate a couple of days ago had it not been for the role of the United States in bringing the Cold War to its end. We don't always really think much about it, we don't really talk much about it, but we probably would be still living on the wrong side of the Iron Curtain. We wouldn't have Wrocław Forum, we wouldn't have these motorways at least partially finished on the way here. That would be a very different country, really. Having moments like that, when we see that the threat is actually possible and it's present, is making us realize the benefits that we have here, thanks to the American leadership. And this leadership is needed, again, to complete the job of Europe that is whole and free, which hasn't been fully finished yet. We are delighted that this year's forum attracted a strong US delegation, especially from the Congress. I would like to welcome US senators and House members who are with us at the forum, as well as I would like to welcome other distinguished guests, for example, Steve Hadley, the former National Security Advisor. It's been a long way to travel here, I believe. I also like to welcome our guests from Ukraine, amongst them the Minister for Economy, Pavlo Sheremeta. These are challenging days for your country, and we've been extremely impressed with the strength of the civil spirits in Ukraine and the determination to reform. Finally, I would like to thank all these that make events like that possible. First of all, let me thank Mayor Dutkiewicz, who has already spoken, and he also mentioned the Basia Radomska, Magda Piasecka, two people who work on this event on the side of the city of Wrocław. They actually they work on that the whole year around. And I also would like to thank Maciej Witucki, the chairman of the board of Orange Polska. He's been in that from the beginning, providing essential support and acting as the event's good spirit. There are also some people with us who change their roles. They are here now in different capacities. Andrzej Bobinski was one of the creators of the forum. These days, he is here with us as representing the press, representing political insight. Sorry? Sorry. It's good to have creators here, even if they are in the different roles. And of course, I'd like to thank the Atlantic Council for providing the formula and for working with us on the program. It's been a pleasure. Many thanks to all the others not mentioned here. Wrocław Forum wouldn't be what it is without you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome to the stage, the President and CEO of the Atlantic Council, Frederick Kempe. Szanowni Państwo, powitajmy na scenę prezydenta i CEO Atlantic Council, pana Frederica Kempa.
Thank you very much. I want to make sure this is working. This microphone is working. Is it?
No.
No? I'm going to record it if I have to. I think this is turned on.
Not right now.
Sorry? Okay. Let me start by just, if I could echo Mayor Dutkiewicz, and first of all thank Mayor Dutkiewicz, but not only thank Mayor Dutkiewicz, but the entire city of Wrocław, and most of all these most amazing volunteers, which I think you're now calling the Flying Angels, but the leader of the Flying Angels, Mayor Dutkiewicz, and the Flying Angels. Give them a round of applause. So, Mr. Mayor, I'm going to start by giving brief comments, and then I'll give my thanks, and then I'll introduce my boss, the member of the Executive Committee of the Board of the Atlantic Council, Steve Hadley. We're gathered here at a testing moment for the free world, a testing moment for the international community, a testing moment for the post-Cold War conviction that democracy, free speech, and free markets are to be the wave of the future. President Obama said in Brussels that what's at stake in Ukraine is, quote, Russia's leadership is challenging truths that only a few weeks ago seemed self-evident, that in the 20th century, the borders of Europe cannot be redrawn with force, that international law matters, that people and nations can make their own decisions about their future, end quote from Obama. What the Wrocław Global Forum is about this year is whether we can all retake the initiative on behalf of freedom or not. Nothing less is at stake. When we first began planning for this year's 5th Wrocław Global Forum, we saw it as a celebration of the 25th anniversary of Polish democracy, the 15th anniversary of NATO enlargements that included Poland, the 10th anniversary of EU enlargements that included Poland. Now, new aggression of authoritarians, and not just in Ukraine, Western indecisiveness and failing commitment, lack of resolve among individuals like ourselves in this room, places all of that in question. So you are all not just attending a conference. You are participants at an inflection point that we at the Atlantic Council think could turn out to be as important as 1919, 1945, or 1989. Will we rise to what President Obama has called a testing moment for the international community? Or will we retreat and leave the stage to less benevolent actors, authoritarians, extremists, disorder? Witness Ukraine, witness Syria, witness the Sahel. If you look through today's agenda and tomorrow's agenda for the Wrocław Global Forum and tonight's Freedom Awards, Atlantic Council Freedom Awards, we'll try to wrestle with today's issues and tomorrow's issues, hoping to limit the set speeches, hoping to limit complacency and cynicism, because they will only take away the energy we need for action. We'll have a panel about security with the Defense Minister Siemoniak, and I want to thank him here also for speaking at the Atlantic Council in the US. It is also a proof that an agreement reached in Washington can be translated into action, as we agreed with the Defense Minister that he would come to the Wrocław Global Forum, so thank you so much. We'll move on to the Transatlantic Trade and Investment Partnership, which is as important strategically as it is economically, and Karl de Gucht, who is leading that from the European Union side. We'll talk about economic competitiveness and competition, because we can all agree that if Ukraine after 2004 had become economically strong and competitive, we might not be where we are today. We'll talk about many other issues, including in the breakouts, questions of the EU and its election, questions of democracy and whether it could go on, and of course an energy panel which stands at the core of all of this. We'll have keynote panels with two senators, one Democrat, one Republican, Senator McCain and Senator Murphy. We'll have a keynote conversation then tomorrow morning with Radek Sikorski and Steve Hadley, really sizing up what this is all about, and then talk about soft power and the questions of Europe's East, and finally ending up tomorrow when we break talking about the future of Ukraine. So we really have laid out an agenda that will try to go at the historic moment. So now comes the welcome. On behalf of the Atlantic Council, I want to welcome you on behalf of many members of our board here who you'll run across, led by National Security Advisor Steve Hadley. It includes business leaders, it includes former top American officials, including officials of the Defense Department, the State Department, the former Vice Chair of the Joint Chiefs, the Spanish Foreign Minister Ana Palacio, the former Vice Chair General Cartwright. I'm also happy to announce that the Atlantic Council has laid deeper roots in Poland. So I also welcome you on behalf of the leader of our new headquarters here in Warsaw, Michał Kabosko. And I want you all to give him a hand and welcome the Atlantic Council to Warsaw and to Poland and to Wrocław. Michał. And thank you, of course, to Vice President Fran Burwell for making all of that happen. And I also want to salute Maciej Watucki, not only as Marcin was saying, one of the founders of this, but now he'll also be the chair of the supervisory board of the Atlantic Council's first foundation in Europe, and it will be in Poland, the Atlantic Council Europe Foundation. So thank you, Maciej, and salute this new foundation of ours. Thank you, Maciej. We're doing what we often think Brussels should do, which is look at the future of Europe from a Polish perspective. We want to welcome the 5 members of Congress, Senator John McCain, Senator Chris Murphy, Senator Ron Johnson, Congressman Tim Murphy, Congressman John Shimkus, some of them with family members as well. Welcome to your family members as well. We have 3 senior officials of the State Department, Dan Fried dealing with the sanctions issues, Tamika Tillman dealing with democracy issues, and also Tom Malinowski dealing with a lot of the civil society issues, one of the great experts in America on these sorts of issues. And then we have one of the world's most important chief executives, also the chair of the Strategic Advisors Group of the Atlantic Council, Airbus CEO Tom Enders will be here today as well. I also want to thank Jan Kulczyk and Jarek Szruka, without whom we would not have been able to establish the foundation or open up the Warsaw office. So thank you so much to them as well. Finally, let me quote President Obama from the square in Warsaw about what today is all about. Quote, "After investing so much blood and treasure to bring Europe together, how can we allow the dark tactics of the 20th century to define this new century?" The Atlantic Council is committed with our partners in Poland, with our partners in Wrocław, our partners in Warsaw, the Foreign Ministry of Warsaw, Defense Ministry, others, to take on this new challenge. But we'll only take it on if we all agree that it's time for us to take the initiative.